Okay, so the ramp texture. Ramp texture is really powerful. Let's just grab the hyper shade here. All right, and so I'll just toss in a Lambert. Yeah, and the ramp is it's a component. It's a texture that you can use to do lots of different effects. So if you've gone through a lot of the videos, you've seen it in a few incarnations, or if hopefully you're doing this one early. All right, so here's my ramp. Get a middle mouse button and drop it over into color there. Yeah, so we can sort of see it in the 3D view. It's okay there, 6. All right, pretty straightforward stuff. And righto, there we go. All right, so your ramp has, you got your V ramp is the default, U ramp makes it go this way. That's all it does. Pretty straightforward. Now if you want to go north-south on like a NURB sphere, okay, let's get that assigned. You know, it has to be a U ramp. Okay, so if we put that back to a V ramp, as you see, it goes now around the sphere. You know, so it depends on what you want. Okay, you have your these guys, which are your color entry lists, is their technical name. And as you see, I can adjust them, and I can buddy these guys up, you know, next to each other. I can delete them by clicking the guy on the right, and make a new one by clicking in the middle. Okay, so you can have one selected color at a time, and that's the one you interface with. Pretty straightforward, you know, fairly easy. One little handy trick I like is if I slide all the way down on the selected color, release, so that makes it black, so the RGB becomes 0, 0, and 0. I then slide up, and it's white. Ta-da! Yeah, you can of course click on the swatch, and you have all your colors, you have your values there and everything. You can set your values off the charts. You know, you can set a value of 3 there or something like that. So that is totally doable. All right. So because you don't always have to use the ramps to do color. You can use them for other things within Maya. So they're very powerful and very handy. All right, and that's not getting back to the red I was expecting. There we go. All right. So that's that guy. So you have your selected position here, and just like everything else in Maya, let's say I take this guy, put him there. I go to selected position and set a key. Go to the end keyframe here and slide him down, and right mouse button, set a key, and so now it animates for me. So everything is animatable. So you can animate the color, you can animate the positions, and you can move things around. All right, so I break connection, that will kill that keyframe. You have your basic wave. Let's see. There we go. Like that. As you see, though, it comes around. That's one of the issues with it. Maybe if we pop over here and we click the mirrors, maybe that will that solve it? No, it does not look like that solved it. So, okay, so you have your your U wave, which isn't doing much for us just because of the shape of it. Okay, so you also have your noise, very handy. Okay, and you have your noise frequency. So that will take up the noisiness, take it down. A lot of times a very subtle noise is very effective. And you of course can combine that with the waves. Okay, so those are the handy effects, right there. But and remember, everything is animatable, so you could actually keyframe that. Okay, so let's pop up here to the top again. And so we've seen the U ramp. There's the diagonal, not a big deal. Radial ramp, so as you see that zips around, very handy. Circular ramp, ooh, okay. So we can, you can build a target this way. So the circular ramp is definitely one of the handy ones to play with. Okay, so it's one of my particular favorites. Yeah, and so let's add some noise. That's interesting. It's not liking the noise. I am shocked. All right, get that back to linear, and I have the noise frequency. There we go. All right, yeah, that's I had the noise frequency at 0. So as you see, that gives me a nice sort of blood splatter there. So handy things to know about. Okay, so that's that. All right, let's put these guys back down to 0. So that's the circular ramp, one of my favorites. The box ramp is also sometimes useful. Okay, UV ramp, never actually needed it. Four corner ramp, never quite needed that one either. The tartan ramp, let's set that to 0. This one is fun to do a quick tartan pattern. You know, ta-da! I know. Okay, so you've seen a bit of the let's put that back to circular. What these guys do. All right, so you got exponential up. All right, and so that's going to have it slowly go from the red and then change and then get faster and faster towards the white. All right, exponential down does the opposite. As you see, the power is at the white and then it comes down to the red. Smooth does a smooth transition so that it's very much does it ease out here, ease in there. Actually, to illustrate sort of what these guys are doing quickly, I'll just use the graph editor and key. And okay, so there's another key, and if I just look at this in the animation editor, graph editor. Okay, so what the smooth is doing is it's coming out of one color and transitioning and then blending into the next color. The linear just does that. It just mathematically just does a straight line between the two. The exponential down, if I go to the here, is going to do something more like that. Not exactly, but you know, for a quick illustration, that'll do. Okay. So popping back to looking at all the fun stuff here in the ramp. All right. So that's that guy. The bump, if I have another guy in here, let's just make a white, that is going to give me more of a power here at the center of that. And a spike is going to spike it up a bit more. So it's, you know, the main thing is play with it, see what you like, you know, get control over it. So that's the basics of the ramp. Now, other fun things to realize here is if I go into this, I can map in another texture. Okay, and so let's say I just toss a checker in here for illustration purposes. There you see there's the checker, and it gradates out through that red. So that's the selected color. You know, I selected the color there. If I put it over this way, ta-da. Okay, so just anything you want to do, you can map in a color, and you can even map in a file if you'd like. You know, so I can do a file node and grab okay, so there I've layered in. All right, let's up and downstream graph this. Okay, and all right, so I can do a let's do it the other way. There we go. And so there I have a gradation into the photo, so that can be handy. Now, one of the things you have to remember is if you, let's say I want to take this and drop it now into the bump map, okay, it's taking out of that the out alpha. And one of the quirks in the ramp is if I go to color balance down here, there is no alpha is luminance. You have to make sure over in the channel box that it's set to on there. Okay? So you're going, wait, so I could animate this white ramp slowly coming off of this wall texture. Yeah, that works great. So it's very powerful. Yep, and let's see. I think that's, yeah, those are the main things I sort of wanted to show you there. I could also layer into this whole thing. Well, another handy thing to do is maybe down here on this guy, let's map in a fractal. So I toss a fractal in at the bottom. So that looks decent. And then I will do some repeats on the fractal. So 0.3 and let's say a repeat of maybe 4. There we go. And so there I've combined a procedural texture with a I've combined the procedural texture with the photo texture. Okay, and so I can just buddy up that transition point there of where that happens. Ta-da! So very powerful stuff, very handy. You know, maybe I decide, hey, I like the exponential down on this. So that's your basic workings of the ramp. And you know, I can break up that edge with a little bit of noise. So now it comes in a bit at the bottom. So maybe I have to go into the Place 2D Texture node for the ramp and take up its coverage. So I'll put that to 2 and 1.2 there, and back it off by negative 0.2. And I had a 50-50 chance on that. 0.2. There we go. So that's just backed it off a little bit. And there. Okay. So there are solutions to everything. All right. And yep. So, but you can use that ramp for all sorts of things, for glows, for incandescence, for transparency. You know, it's really a basic building block of Maya for constructing things. And as with any other of these procedural textures, that's what this is. It's, we're using algorithms to define the texture. You can bake this out into a file, take it into Photoshop, edit it in Photoshop. So hope that helps. Have fun.